Batman and Robin 15, legacy number 81. Philip Kennedy Johnson writing with Javier Fernandez on the art. So, last issue, this was pretty good. I had a couple of complaints about Damien's characterization, but the serial killer type plot that they seem to be setting up was kind of interesting. And I think this issue I feel quite similar about, and I think it's mostly pretty solid. There's some really nice art. There's some really nice sort of action, especially early on when they're dealing with the fire in the building with everyone, and like Bruce is trying to climb his way out of this burning boiler room, and Damien's trying to run around and like deal with the fire with all the guests. Like this stuff was all really cool looking, flowed really well, and has a gut punch at the end when Damien like fails to save the little girl that he was mean to last issue. I thought, like, you know what, all that funny stuff with the little girl getting on his nerves last issue all of a sudden felt like a really nice setup for this. So
I like anything that makes Damien question, like, not his morals, but like how he goes about things and how he lives his life. I always think those are the most effective kind of stories, because we all know he's, you know, the son of Batman, and he's rash, and the, you know,
sorry, Matt. Heir to the bat, not son of the bat. Heir to the bat.
heir to the bat. You know. So, and he does all the tuts and stuff, but yeah, anytime where any type of writer or any writer can, you know, have him slow it down and think about, you know, why he does this, why, you know, and here leave it for Johnson to have an absolute gut punch here. Yeah,
for sure. It landed, it hit well. Really no complaints, and I even liked the awkward car ride home where Bruce is trying to talk to him about it and ask him what happened. That was a really nice layout. It built really well. I love the panel of Bruce talking about when he was training under a detective in London under Scotland Yard, and this killer, the Memento killer, was there, and we get this like sort of all red panel of this Jack the Ripper looking dude. Really like that visual. For sure.
Super creepy. I love the creepy vibes to Memento.
Yeah, I love that a lot. My only critique, honestly, is something that ties into what I was complaining about with Taylor's first detective issue, is that once again, it's like, oh, someone that's got a connection to Batman's past, particularly his training days, which seems to be coming up a lot recently between Zarsky's whole shtick, and then this. Like, don't get me wrong, like the actual scene we get later on of the flashback of him at this crime scene in London, I like that it, like, this is like an official class because there's other students there, and he's there under an assumed name. He's going by Jack, right? He's not actually calling himself Bruce, but there's, you know, there's like 4 students, and they're all sort of giving their opinions on the case and talking about stuff, and but obviously Bruce is the one that actually like deduces something that makes him sound smarter than everyone else. But notably, when the detective who's like training him says, well, what do you think his purpose, or why do you think he did this here, like in this church? Why is he trying to emulate these murders that happened like a century ago or whatever? Because it's like a copycat crime. And Bruce says, oh, he's insane. What difference does it matter why he's doing it? And the guy sort of, you know, says, no, this is important, because if it's detection is not letting your feelings about how you feel about the killer getting in the way. If you understand what he wants, then you'll understand who he is, and therefore you can stop him from doing it to anyone else. And it feels like that's a lot of the lessons that Bruce is now trying to impart, maybe on Damien. Although it does feel like Bruce still falls victim to this in the present day story, where he's almost like too, because every time it comes up, he's like, this isn't the real Memento killer. That's impossible. He's definitely gone. This is some sort of copycat. And I feel like, Bruce, you're going to have egg in your face, because this is going to turn out to be some immortal dude. I'm telling you right now, Bruce.
or not even immortal dude. It is like a legacy type thing. That there's been multiple mementos over time. You know, because here the whole thing of him showing up at the end of the book is saying those nursery rhymes and whatever. Definitely doesn't feel like the same one that Bruce was investigating all those years ago when he was a kid. So maybe Bruce also knows something. Maybe they stopped him, you know, in London with this inspector, and that's why he's so certain about it. But yeah, I like all of this kind of true crimey stuff, because before all of that, before we get the flashback, Bruce is watching.
Yeah, the people on the news talking about it.
Yeah. And they're getting into, you know, they're calling them like momentous and all this, and I, you know, I have this weird relationship with true crime where I enjoy watching the documentaries and or listening to shows about it, but you get some of these people that wrap up entire, like some of these killers, they treat them like pop stars.
Yeah,
and
I mean, the people talking in this footage that he's watching are basically saying they're excited that he's here.
Yeah.
And then someone says, hey, but like London, in the fiction here, London in 1925 or whenever it was, like kind of had a really rough period when he was rampant. Like, this may actually be bad for the city.
Yeah.
Yeah, no shit. A serial killer going around killing people left and right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and then someone's like, oh, I bet he recreates the Joker fish thing. And it's like, what are y'all doing? This is your reality. Like, you should be rooting for that.
Yeah, you could be the
I do like
victims.
That. Yeah, I do like that. It feels like Philip Kennedy Johnson's take on this, it kind of lines up with mine. It was like, hey, a little bit of this stuff's okay, but let's not make it our entire, thing. We shouldn't be rooting for said serial killers.
They're the character from Terrifier 3 who wants
Yes.
wants the podcast interview.
Yep. Wants to know what it's like to feel the presence of art. It's like, oh, don't ever say that out loud.
Wants to look into his eyes and see if he's really a man or a monster.
Yes.
All that shit. So yeah, it's nice art here with Batman and Robin like investigating. They really play with the light of the flashlight as they're looking around.
Yeah, and the fact that they make Damien's eyes so much bigger too. It really, I like that look. Makes them really pop out. But yeah, everything to do with the light, even the fire stuff early on in the book with Bruce trapped in there, like the warm orange glow, him holding onto the chain, just all of that stuff. So it seems like Fernandez really has a thing for drawing this kind of light.
Yeah, that's good.
Let him keep doing it.
Yeah, I love them playing at the contrast with it. Damien points out, I looked up some fan sites in quotations, and some people think he's a demon, and Bruce just shuts it down, says, I want to entertain that, we're detectives. And I'm like, Bruce, this isn't some Elseworld where you're the only superhero. You function in a team with Superman and the Flash. Are you really ruling this out?
One of your best friends is a goddess, right? She's the daughter of this type of stuff. Like, Zatanna, who fights demons. Like, you've hung out with Etrigan. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, so I feel like he is setting himself up for whatever. There's a scene we glossed over though that I do want to point out where Damien's like struggling with his purpose and all that, where he's training with Bruce and he's like, look, you always had your purpose when you were training, but I've been given purpose by my grandfather and my mother, and then by you. It's never really been mine. And he questions his roles and whatever. And Bruce's answer to this is to say, hey, you should learn more about your grandfather. Not Raz, but your other grandfather. And hands him Thomas Wayne's journal, which has like sketches that Thomas Wayne did, which I actually really liked because they've established in this book, I think when Williamson was writing it, that Damien was drawing. Like, that was something he was doing as a pastime. I think it's a nice little touch to say that, hey, Thomas Wayne used to sketch as well. He was very private about it. He didn't really let anyone see them, but they're in his journal. He did that as well. So maybe there's some of, my father are like in your genetics as well. So it's not all, the Al Ghul's and whatnot. Like you've got some other parts of this family in you.
Yeah, you are part Wayne as well. Like, that's also part of your purpose. And, he was a healer and a builder, it's not just all the assassin stuff. So I do like that Bruce reminding him of that.
Yeah, it wasn't, hey, you have to be Batman. It was like, hey, here's some stuff. This might inspire you in different ways. Maybe you'll choose to be something slightly different. But at the end of the book, though, is tiger sharks waiting with some goons for a ship that they've got coming in with, I don't know, drugs or something on it. Who knows? Yeah. But the killer, Memento, seemingly has caused havoc on the ship. So the big finale to the issue is this flaming ship crashing into the pier with the Memento killer like sort of standing in the Titanic location, basically. Just looking very ominous. So nice big cliffhanger. I would say overall, I think this is a stronger issue than the first one was, or the last part was. Art's great. I think the character progression is good. Honestly, the only thing I'd critique in this one is maybe just that we're leaning into someone from Bruce's past is affecting his current story. Like it's just a trope we lean on so goddamn much in comics that I have to dock it a little mark for it. But otherwise, there's nothing wrong with this issue. It's actually very enjoyable, and I think cleans up some of the Damian character beats that I thought were a little bit dated last time, even though it was still a good issue. So
yeah, well, and definitely all these, I don't call them set pieces, but you said the flaming boat, that was super fun. And the entire beginning with the fire and then Damien going out through all of setting off the fire sprinklers and all that, but interspersed there are these really nice quiet moments between Bruce and Damien that really land, like the car ride, him talking about Thomas, him in the flashback explaining what he went through. So yeah, it's balanced really well so far, especially this issue.
Yeah. It's just funny because I think I was expecting a home run at the very first issue because it was Johnson, and it was good, but it wasn't the home run. I think it feels like it's tiptoeing there, right? It's not been a sudden like wham, this is amazing, but it feels like it's getting closer with his second issue. So things are looking like they're progressing in the right direction. I'm liking, I'm definitely liking the tone and the vibe of the book right now. I'll say that for sure. So, all right, what are you giving Batman and Robin?
I'm gonna guess an 8.5.
Straight 8 for me, I think. I'll go straight 8, but it's close. It's close.